We all probably have a few songs from movies that we know by heart and will proudly belt at the top of our lungs in a moment's notice. Whether it be Can You Feel the Love Tonight, or maybe My Heart Will Go On. But today I wanted to give some praise to the movie soundtracks and scores that I think go under the radar, and don't receive the recognition they truly deserve for popping off for absolutely no reason. And the first soundtrack that I want to shine some light on is one that has actually been memed on a bit over the years, and it's Tarzan from 1999. And do I even need to say it? Phil Collins went absolutely ballistic on this soundtrack. I mean, Tarzan is a pretty middle-of-the-road Disney movie from a pretty middle-of-the-road era of animated Disney films, but songs like You'll Be in My Heart and Strangers Like Me honestly carry this movie in my opinion. I mean, how can you not at least bob your head while Phil Collins is losing his mind over catchy instrumentals? At the end of the day, just to be frank, Tarzan is a movie I'm honestly not in the mood to revisit too often, but when I am, it is almost entirely because of Phil Collins. I don't know what was in the air the night that he recorded this, but goddamn, it must have been something good. The second movie soundtrack that I think pops off for absolutely no reason is Madagascar. And believe it or not, I truly think that Madagascar is one of Hans Zimmer's best movie soundtracks. I know that is quite a statement, and Hans Zimmer has composed a lot of classic pieces of music for films in the past. But do me a favor and just listen to Zooster's Breakout and tell me when I'm telling lies. That is such a great piece of music, and the entire movie is filled with pieces like this. It's kind of funny because as a kid I loved this movie for the quirky characters and kind of out there fun plot, but as an adult I primarily come back for the music. Continuing the trend of late 90s, early 2000s animated movies and underrated Hans Zimmer compositions, the next soundtrack that I think pops off for absolutely no reason is Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. And from one soft rock icon absolutely killing a movie soundtrack to yet another, I think Bryan Adams doesn't get nearly enough credit for his work on Spirit. It's not quite as consistent as Phil Collins' work on Tarzan, but it certainly peaks at similar heights. And for a kid's movie about a horse, this didn't need to be nearly as inspiring and badass of a movie score. I mean, when Bryan Adams sings, "You can't take me, I'm free," just absolute chills every time. And once again, Hans Zimmer is providing stellar composition and proves to be a phenomenal partner for Adams' vocals. I mean, just listen to the track Run Free and try telling me that isn't one of Hans Zimmer's best pieces of music. You simply can't.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
Finally entering the world of live-action soundtracks, I actually want to highlight my favorite movie composition of all time, and this score absolutely never gets its due credit, and that is James Newton Howard's work on Unbreakable. Now, Unbreakable was actually one of the first movies that inspired me to start thinking about cinema critically, so maybe there's a pinch of bias from me here, but I still firmly believe this is Newton Howard's best score, and yes, that includes his work on The Dark Knight. I said what I said. But the real highlights here for me are the title track and Visions. And it's kind of hard to explain, but to my ears, both of these pieces recreate the sound of a train through the use of instruments. And not only does this just sound great sonically, it really correlates to the film in both a literal and thematic way. The literal obviously being that David, our main character, is the sole survivor of a train crash. But thematically, David's personal life has also been tumultuous and is currently going off the tracks, if you will. So I've always viewed the train-like sound as being a motif to reference the train crash and also mirror the state of the main character's life. And I think pulling this off in such an understated yet powerful way is extremely impressive. My hat's off to James Newton Howard on this one. I mean, I could gush on about this score for hours if you like, but I'll cap it off by simply stating that it pops off for absolutely no reason. This last score is from a movie that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I've ironically listened to this soundtrack more times than I've actually watched the film, and I'm referring to Daft Punk's work on Tron Legacy. And the futuristic and digital kind of vibe that Daft Punk has throughout most of their production credits fits the concept of Tron extremely well. I mean, I can think of no better music producer or movie composer to make some instrumentals for a movie about being stuck inside a video game or virtual reality. Tracks like The Game Has Changed really do a great job at submersing you into the alternate digital world that the movie takes place in. And again, while I don't think Tron Legacy as a film is particularly great, kind of like Tarzan, if I'm in the mood to rewatch it, it is almost entirely because of the soundtrack. So shout out to Daft Punk, you killed it. And there you have it, some of the movie soundtracks that I think go completely under the radar and pop off for absolutely no reason. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and in the comments, let me know what are some of your favorite movie soundtracks. What film scores do you think pop off and don't receive the proper recognition for it? If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to drop a like or subscribe. Until next time, peace.